The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games were missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Yes, guys, once again, it's the next installment. It's the next edition of everyone's favorite late night boxing program. In boxing these days, we don't got HBO After Dark anymore. So guess what? We got True School After Dark. It's your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, the untouchable True School Sports Empire, reporting to y'all live and direct from that Bay Area, where, as a wise man once told me, we about business over here in the Bay Area. When I got to the Bay Area 2 weeks ago, I met a guy. I met a guy in the boxing gym, Coach. If I'll say his name, my boy Coach Jeff. He said, "Man, here in the Bay Area, we about our business, man. We about our business." So here on True School Sports, it's Canelo Crawford fight week. Yes, I have personal feelings. You guys know how I feel about this fight. If you've heard me talk about what I really think about this fight, you know what I think about this fight. So this week we're gonna be professionals. We're gonna put our feelings to the side because feelings don't get you nowhere. We're gonna be professionals here, and I'm gonna do my best to give you guys as much Terrence Crawford, Canelo quality fight week coverage as I possibly can here from the Bay Area as I continue to enjoy this experience being here in the middle of training camp with my boy, one of the best young fighters in the world, not just Japan, but one of the best young fighters in the world, the future world champion and the future face of Japanese boxing, my boy Yuga Osaki. Yes, we're in the middle of training camp. God willing, y'all should hear something soon. But yeah, right now we working, baby, and Yuga's getting better every day, and he's gonna be someone y'all have to pay attention to in the near future. But listen, so much to talk about, so much to discuss. If you guys have been watching my shorts, if you guys have been watching my long form videos, I may repeat some things, but I'm repeating it so that everybody hears it, so that the masses hear it, because some people may not have seen those shorts, they may not have seen those videos, so they got to hear me say this for the first time. So listen, I'm here. We got a good 2-hour show for you guys. I got like 5 talking points I'm gonna run through, and we're gonna get through all of them, and it'll be a lot of fun. You guys can chime in, definitely get your comments in. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, definitely take that time to subscribe. Definitely super chat, because that definitely helps the channel, and it helps this whole True School Sports boxing thing keep going. I wouldn't be anything without the viewers. I wouldn't be anything without the people that actually authentically really like this channel and what I have to say about boxing. Little old me, little old BT, right? But anyway, before I get into my talking points, let me go ahead and acknowledge the fine folks that have already made their presence felt. We got my man TSM Harder in the building. He said, "What's up? What's up, TSM? Good to see you, champ." Jeffrey the Pig in the building. He says, "Hey, BT, what's good, Jeffrey? Good to see you, champ." Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here. Crawford Canelo fight week. Because let's be real, guys. If I go and I start talking about other fights and I start talking about other things, y'all are gonna come in here and you're gonna ask me and say, "BT, what do you think about Crawford versus Canelo?" So I said, you know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna talk about Crawford Canelo into a blue in the face, because that's all y'all gonna ask me about anyway. So I might as well just get used to it. I might as well embrace it. I might as well have a good attitude. And you know what? That'll actually pivot into my first talking point. Look, I'm putting my feelings aside. You guys know that I personally think this fight is a cash grab. I feel like, although Canelo and Crawford are two of the best boxers of our generation, and I do acknowledge that, and I'm going to try to have the best attitude I can about it. I feel like Terrence Crawford's biting off more than he can chew, because he's going to lose too much of his speed. I feel like Canelo beating Crawford doesn't really prove anything, even though Crawford's a great fighter. I feel like Crawford should be trying to fight the guys like, Jerron Ennis, the guys in 154, Brian Norman. And in the case of Canelo, he should be trying to fight Dave Benavidez. So that's where a lot of my disdain or my dislike or my I don't know, my indifference. I won't say disdain, because that's worse than hate. I'll say my indifference for this fight comes from just the fact that I know there's other fights these guys should be having, but I know and I understand why it's happening. I'm not an idiot. I'm actually quite smart when it comes to boxing. Sometimes I think it's the biggest payday for both these guys, and sometimes they say in life and they say in boxing, you can't have your cake and eat it, but every now and then you can have your cake and eat it. Sometimes you can get money and a lot of it, and legacy and a lot of it all in one. And I feel like, you know what? Whether I like it or not, that's what this is. Because, you know, no matter how much I try to paint it as this guy who's a welterweight going to 68 to fight Canelo, who's ruled over the division for like half a decade, people still think it's intriguing enough of a fight to where it could be deemed as a legacy fight. So as they say, as the old adage goes, perception is in fact reality. So look, man, I'll leave my feelings at the door. The reality is this: these are two of the best fighters of my lifetime, of our era. And when I go back and I look at the history of this channel and how many videos over the years I've done about Crawford, how many videos over the years I've done about Canelo, these are two of the top 3 to 5 most covered fighters in the history of true school sports. And they're fighting each other. So you know what? I should be excited about it because, you know, I've been able to carve out my little niche here in boxing because you guys, for some strange reason, listen to me blabber away about boxing, and somehow to the tune of me getting almost 100,000 subscribers, to where, you know, I've been able to take care of myself and, you know, some things around me. So it's been great. It's been phenomenal. And so in some ways, you know, I gotta change my perspective because I'm sitting here getting mad at these guys. I should be thanking these guys. Shit, we would have these guys. I've gotten a lot of subscribers off of Canelo. I've got a lot of subscribers on Crawford, and we're here talking boxing because, you know, so these guys played a role. I can't hate. I covered fights for both these guys in person. So look, I'm just saying I'm starting off on a good foot. I'm starting off with good energy this week to say, you know what? Let's leave our feelings at the door because there ain't no money in your feelings. You know, like my man Coach Jeff says here in the Bay Area. You know, in the Bay Area, we about business, man. We about business. So let's be about our business, and our business is talking about this fight game at the highest of levels, to the highest of degrees, the best way we know how, being our authentic self. So, yeah, man, should be interesting to see. You know, I think obviously if Crawford wins, it's gonna put him in a whole other stratosphere in terms of legacy and superstardom. We know it's already putting him in another stratosphere in terms of money and payday. But for the Canelo, it's like I was thinking about it. I was like, for Canelo, you know, what does this really do for him if he wins? Now, it's not really for me about if Canelo wins, but it's more so about if he does win, how does he win? Because if he wins like a controversial decision, that would be kind of like par for the course. We've seen controversial decisions go Canelo's way too many times in his career. If he wins a workmanlike decision, okay, whatever. But if he goes out there and he knock out Terence Crawford, then I think, you know, that'll put Canelo even in a different stratosphere himself. So I'll get to that later on. I see we got some comments. Let me go acknowledge these comments. We got a couple people in the super. We got one super chat. My main man. Hold on. Let me go to the comments. Why can't I get to the comments? The comments. Hold on. Wait, there you go. So my man Pete says, hold on. Why are you doing this to me, StreamYard? Why are you doing this to me? That's why I need my computer to work. Hold on. I see my boy Pete's here. He's the #1 Canelo fan. Why? Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Cause StreamYard be on some bullshit. Hold on. I don't know what he said, but I'm sure it was good because Pete always has great comments. Why show comments on stage? Continue. Oh no. There you go. All right. Anyway, yeah. Normally I have my computer like to read the comments, but I'm relying on my phone and it's being weird. Hold on. What did I just do? Hold on. What did I just do? Why am I sideways? What's that song by Paul Wall? Sitting sideways. Boys in the day. Hold on. So for some reason, I turned myself sideways trying to read the comments. But shout out to people with the super chat. I don't know what you said. Hold on, bro. See, now I'm upset. This is why I need my computer to work. The place I'm staying is funny. Like, the Wi-Fi works for everything but my damn computer. Let me see. What did I do? Why am I turned around? Anyway. Hold on, guys. All right, so I don't know what I did, so fuck it. We're gonna have to turn the camera. I don't know how I did that. I don't know why the camera is doing that. But we're here, And of course, as soon as the live starts picking up, hold on, guys. I'm gonna come right back. Give me 1 second. Hold on. All right, there we go. So I got the regular camera back, but I'm trying to figure out why can I read the comments on the phone? It's like being weird. Anyway, I'm sure whatever he said was good. Hold on, bro. This pissed me off because the comment won't read on the phone. Anyway, can I get to banners at least? Okay, I can get to banners. Where's banners at? Banners. Oh my god, I hate StreamYard. I'm about to switch. But look, guys, we're here. We're talking about Canelo Crawford. I got a lot to discuss. Guys, give me like 2 minutes, guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me like 2 minutes. Why? All right, my bad, guys. So, my man Pete said, "Hold on, where is it? Live." So I don't know what happened. So he gets sent the regular comment. Okay, my bad, guys. I got it going again. I don't know why, man. StreamYard on the phone, like StreamYard's making all these changes, and you know, I don't understand why it's been weird on the phone recently. But anyway, yeah, we have a lot to discuss. We got my man Pete. He said, "I sent it wrong, BT. I just wanted to show love. I didn't comment." Okay, no problem, man. I appreciate you, Pete, and I already know who you picking. That's a good thing about you is I already know who you picking. I don't gotta ask you who I think you picking. I know you got Canelo, since you're the #1 Canelo fan. TBE Boxing says, weight bully, Crawford be bigger, faster, stronger, with more power than Canelo. I'm finding that Crawford by KO over Canelo 11 round, unless Reynoso throws in the towel before that. See, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm seeing everybody keep saying that Terrence Crawford is gonna weight bully, is gonna beat the brakes off Canelo, and like I'm not even a Canelo fan like that. You guys know like at one point in time, at one particular moment in time, I was known as a Canelo hater. But I feel like people are disrespecting Canelo, like saying that Terrence is gonna stop him. Like have your opinion, but I swear on my life, man, if Canelo goes in there and beats the brakes off Terrence or wins or just does anything, I don't want to hear that he dared to be great. I don't want to hear none of that, bro. Y'all are getting too comfortable disrespecting Canelo. And it's weird. It's weird that I'm saying that because I'm the furthest thing from a Canelo Alvarez fanboy. Like I'm not that. But we'll use Canelo to pivot into our first talking point about this fight. Now, I made a whole video about this earlier today. I made a whole YouTube short about this earlier today. So you may have heard me say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say it again For the people that have not heard, for the people that don't know, I'm gonna say it again, because Canelo, even though he is fighting pretty much a welterweight, he has a chance to do something in this fight that he hasn't done yet. He hasn't, in his whole career, he's fought some great fighters. Everybody's always quick to point out the fact that he fought this great fighter and he fought that great fighter. But Canelo has never knocked out any Hall of Fame fighter on his resume. If you look at all the guys on his resume that you would say are Hall of Famers, guys like, Mayweather, Bivol, Golovkin, he didn't knock none of those guys out. Outside of that, I mean, maybe you could say, maybe if Amir Khan somehow gets in the Hall of Fame, then I guess you could say Amir Khan could be that. But there's no, like, true, surefire Hall of Famer Canelo has ever knocked out. And that's been my biggest criticism of him when they talk about him in the pantheon, in the order of the all-time great Mexican fighters. They always say that Canelo Alvarez, I've seen some people try to argue that he's the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. I don't think he's the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. I think it's blasphemous. I think Salvador Sanchez is comfortably the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. Even with him dying so young, he still had like 40 fights. He still knocked out Hall of Famers like Azuma Nelson, Wilfredo Gomez, Danny Lopez multiple times. He was on like a top 5, top 10 trajectory of all time. And he had already done like 4 times in like at the age of 22 what Canelo is trying to do now in like 70 something fights, 60 something fights, 70 something fights, whatever it is now for him. So my thing is, if he knocks out Crawford, I think it'd be good for him. For me, it would put the cherry on top of what's been a great career. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He is one of the all-time greats, not just Mexican boxing, but boxing in general. But if he knocks out Crawford, that'd be the first time we could honestly say Canelo knocked out a Hall of Fame fighter. And to me, that does something for his resume. So shout out to my man Wayne. He says they've been hating on Canelo for a minute. Even James Toney, he should be mentioned with Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard if he wins. They've been hating on Canelo for a minute. Even James Toney, he should be. No. See, now you're getting carried away. I'm trying to sit here and be positive, guys. I'm trying to sit here and not like really live in my feelings of what I really think about this fight. I'm trying to be as fair as possible. Why on God's green earth would Canelo even be within a shouting distance of Hagler or Leonard? No, absolutely not. No. Why? You're talking about guys who did multiple times throughout the course of their career what Canelo still has not done, which is knock out a Hall of Fame fighter. No, absolutely not. Is he a great fighter? Yes. Is he going to the Hall of Fame? Yes. But let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's not do that. This fight is going the distance. I 1000% agree. I've been telling everyone, ain't nobody getting knocked out this fight. I'll get into it later on, and I'll give you guys like the definitive style breakdown of why it's going to go that far. But yeah, it's going the distance. I don't understand. But yeah, if Canelo knocks out Crawford, it'll be the first time in his career he's ever knocked out a Hall of Fame fighter. And don't get mad at me. If you're a Canelo fan and you say I'm hating, don't get mad at me, because really and truthfully, I'm ready for this fight to be over with. Get mad at Canelo every time he fought a Hall of Fame fighter. He may have won some fights, he may have lost some fights, but he never really showed that extra bit of class that you show when you fight another Hall of Fame fighter. So that's what I'm saying. If he is to go out there and do what he's capable of doing and knocking out Terrence Crawford, because remember, 168, the super middleweight division, this is his domain. Canelo won his first super middleweight title in late 2020 when he fought Callum Smith. So we're talking about half a decade of ruling over the division. We're talking about half a decade of being the landlord of 168. And really and truthfully, because of that, you have to give Canelo the edge, in my opinion. Although Crawford is a great fighter and he's probably the more versatile fighter and he's probably the better fighter at making adjustments, the fact that Crawford is going to have 14 extra pounds on him, he's going to lose some speed. He's going to lose quite a bit of speed, or at least enough speed for where the speed advantage isn't what it needs to be to get by Canelo Alvarez. I feel like, in my opinion, and I know it's I don't want to be that guy that's nitpicking here, but I mean, these guys are getting paid handsomely, and they're both getting paid handsomely because they're both great fighters. So when you're a great fighter, great things are demanded of you. Great things are bestowed upon you from the boxing fans and the world at large and the masses. And I feel like, you know what? He's never knocked out a Hall of Fame fighter. So for me, this weekend, I think Canelo will win by decision. I don't think it'll be an exciting fight, but it won't be. In my opinion, he needs to win in emphatic fashion. I'm talking about he needs to win by knockout because this is his weight class. He's got things stacked in his favor in that regard, and I feel like that's what he should be doing. You know, that's what I'm saying. Shout out to my guy Ezekiel. He says, now this is actually a good question. This is a pertinent question. This is a question worth answering. He says, do you think Sergey Kovalev will ever make it to the Hall of Fame? You know, at one point in time, I thought he was in a Hall of Fame trajectory. I think if he would have gotten the decision that I thought he earned in the first Andre Ward fight, I think he would have been on the Hall. I think you probably could have made an argument for him from being in the Hall of Fame because Andre Ward is still to this day the last American to win a gold medal. He was the man at 168. I feel like that win, that was supposed to be the win that would have got him to the Hall of Fame, but unfortunately, he didn't get that win, and then he was pretty much a sub 500 fighter, a 500 fighter the rest of his career. He lost to Elieta Alvarez, got the title back, beat Anthony Yarde, got knocked out by Canelo. So, as they say in other sports, I don't think Kovalev's in the Hall of Fame, but I think he's in the Hall of Very Good. Shout out to my guy, Mooney's Gamble. He says, Inoue Fight Week, the most exciting fighter in the world, has never disappointed. He hasn't. But you know what? It's kind of hard for me to really even get up for Inoue Fight Week because we don't even got an American TV provider yet. ESPN hasn't told us nothing. The Zone hasn't told us nothing. There's no announcement of American television for the monster, and that is pissing me off. How the hell are we in what is it? Inoue has been a professional for over a decade now. He just fought in the States in May. He sold damn near 10,000 tickets when he fought Cardenas at the T-Mobile Arena. And it's like, bro, if you had this guy box in America earlier in the year and you're going to follow it up by not showing his next fight on American television, then there was no point in bringing him to America in the first place. It was counterproductive. You should have just kept him in Japan. But, that's how BT thinks. That's how, that's how I think. Shout out to my main man, 50 grand out there in Japan. Yes, that rhymed. Reverse Lee says Canelo and Crawford fans are weird as hell. I think fanboys of any fighter are weird as hell, if I'm being honest with you. But I would say yes. I haven't had the most pleasant experience with the Canelo and Crawford fans in the build to this fight. Give BT the likes, guys. He deserves it. Thank you, Hockey. Appreciate the support. Yes, sir. Do what Hockey says. Yeah, but see, like I'm gonna tell you guys this. I've been a boxing fan my whole life, and I've been covering boxing out here on this platform for 10 years. And so I've experienced a lot, and I can't think of a fight week where I feel so weird during this fight week because I'm supposed to be more excited than I am. See, now normally, if I wasn't really as excited for Canelo versus Crawford, but the Inoue fight was on ESPN on Top Rank like normal, I'd be okay. I could talk about this fight. I wouldn't even be upset. But we don't even got an American TV provider for the damn Inoue fight. So how could I even get excited for the Inoue fight? I'm in this camp house with Yugo Osaki, the future face of Japanese boxing, and we trying to watch the current face of Japanese boxing, and we don't know how we're gonna watch it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's pissing me off. Top Rank waited to the last minute to start promoting Inoue properly. They would rather sack Ride, Haney, and Shakur. It's ridiculous. And to be honest with you, I know it's easy to criticize, and I'm trying not to be that guy because trust me, guys, the last couple of years, really being involved in the fight game with Angelo and Yugo Osaki now and not other fighters. Like I got a deeper understanding for boxing. Like I really do. Like it really is hard. But man, I really don't think Top Rank ever properly promoted Inoue, in my opinion. Because think about it. Inoue is what? He's Japanese, right? Now, if you talk to most Japanese people, the major cities that most Japanese people visit on vacation or migrate to when they move to America are in Southern California, Northern California. So LA, San Francisco, California, right? Naoya Inoue has never boxed in LA. He's never boxed in San Francisco. So I feel like there's been a big missed opportunity by Top Rank and the powers that be to really promote Inoue the way he deserves to be promoted, to really tap into the biggest segment of the Japanese population that America has to offer. They never ever did that, and that always upset me. And I know that the reason the reason you could probably say that they don't do that is because really and truthfully it's hard. Like it's the California taxes are high. I understand the economics of these things, but still it's like, bro, if you believe in your investment, then fucking invest. That's how I feel. Like if you believe in your investment, put the money up and invest. So in a way, should have been boxing in LA and in San Francisco and these kind of places, tapping into the Asian American market, but nope, can't do that. He says, TJ says, what it do, B? I tried to message you on Twitter, but your DMs are closed. Chill Town Boxing. Okay, shoot me a tweet and I'll follow you and I'll DM you myself. Follow me if you don't already and shoot me a tweet and just say like, BT, I'm trying to get a hold of you, or just say DM me, please. Just say something to me so I can know that it's you. And I'll make sure after the live, I send you a DM and we can see what's what. Who has Top Rank properly promoted? They do great with matchmaking and building fighters. I mean, years ago, before the internet, they had they did a great job. Miguel Cotto, they did a great job with certain guys, but yeah, in the new age, I wish we could take some of the things that PBC does promotional wise, and then the matchmaking and development of Top Rank and put it together and make like a boxing super promotional company, because that's what boxing needs. We need the development and matchmaking of Top Rank, and then we need the ability to appeal to the masses in America like PBC tends to do when they have their big fights. You understand? So I would like to get a little bit of both, but that won't happen. TSM says, do you think we're going to get a stream in the USA for the Inoue? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I hope so, because I want to watch the fight. I would even like to go live for the fight. You guys know these days I don't like going live during fights, but Inoue is different. He's must-see TV. He's a big part of this channel's history. I love going live for his fights. It's a joy for me to get up early in the morning at the ass crack of dawn and and talk about his fights, but we're not gonna get that. So yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm very pissed off about it. Floyd. We need a new Floyd. Guys like Haney, Shakur, Shushu, Foster. We need another Floyd, Top Rank. Well, you're not gonna get another Floyd because none of those guys, not Shakur, not Haney, not Shushu, none of them guys are as talented as Floyd. They're not as good as Floyd. Another Floyd is not walking through those doors. The reason why a guy like Brian Norman Jr. is going over so well with everybody in boxing right now is because he's being himself. And we see so many fighters fake the funk and not be themselves, that now we got a guy who can punch, who's knocking people out, who's got charisma, who's down to earth, who's relatable, who's blue collar. People are getting behind him. So I feel like, Brian Norman, he keep doing what he's doing, he'll be all right. But it's just sad. It's just utterly it's utterly sad. And there he is, guys. My main man, 50 grand. Yes, sir. The Dundada boxing media of himself. My boy, Sean Tatel. He says, we're in this motherfucker. Yes, we are. It is Canelo Crawford fight week. And guys, because I get these comments all the time from you guys. You guys keep saying, BT, when are you going to do a collab with Sean? We see Sean and Raheem, but we don't see Sean and BT. I always tell you guys, well, now you can address the man directly. He's in the comments. Shout out to you, Sean. We gotta do our video soon. We here. Disappointed that Ramos Jr. is fighting Mosey. I thought the kid would be far ahead for where he's at now. Maybe he can't make the weight. And maybe it's time to go to 160. I don't know, man. BT, we gotta break that shit down. We are, man. I got a busy schedule with this whole Yugo Osaki thing, but I'll make the time. I will make the time, Sean. Anything for Sean. Sean says Brian Norman is trying to be Brian Norman, not Floyd Mayweather. That's what the game needs. Guys being themselves, bringing something new, themselves to the game. Yes, we've already seen a Floyd. We've already seen that before. That's why I'm saying, Sean. That's why Brian Norman Jr. is going so over everyone. And the fact that he's fighting Devin Haney, a fighter that is polarizing in boxing. A lot of people love Devin Haney, but a lot of people can't stand Devin Haney. And then Brian Norman Jr. knocks him out and talks that ATL, cash shit that he's been talking. He's gonna go to the moon. Oh my God. It's gonna be like unlike anything we've seen in boxing in a while, in my opinion. So, yeah. But look, all right. My second talking point, guys, because I don't want to veer too off topic. But y'all keep leaving your comments, keep hitting the like button, super chat, all that great stuff. Listen, my second point, and I put out a YouTube short about this, but I want to talk about this in the long form because I feel like I have to almost get out in front of this because there's a big possibility. Terence Crawford's a great fighter. He might beat Canelo, and if he does beat Canelo, there's going to be these discussions because Terence Crawford will have become a 3-time undisputed champion. He'll become the first male to become a 3-time undisputed champion. There's going to be all these conversations about, is Terence Crawford better than Floyd Mayweather? Now, personally, and I want to be as blunt as possible, Terence Crawford could knock out Canelo Alvarez in the first round, and I'm still not saying he's better than Floyd Mayweather. Why? Because I hate to sound stupid, but like Floyd already beat Canelo. He beat him years ago. And in my opinion, maybe Canelo back then didn't have the IQ that he has now, but from a physical standpoint, he was here. He was up there. That being said, I feel like Terence is Terence. He's a great fighter. He's going to the Hall of Fame. One day he's gonna have his rightful place in Canastota. But it's like, man, I don't just judge fighters off of accomplishments. Like, accomplishments is part of the equation. But see, what I like to look at, because I'm really into fighter development. That's why I've always been fascinated by prospects. That's why, I do a prospect and contender review series on this channel. I talk about a lot of fighters that nobody cares about because I enjoy it. I enjoy watching fighters develop. Right? And part of fighter development is evaluating how consistent is a fighter on a performance by performance basis. Now, Terence Crawford is damn consistent. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's not. He's probably been one of the most consistent performers of my lifetime. But there has been no more consistent performer in my lifetime than probably Floyd Mayweather. I mean, apart from hiccups against Castillo and probably Maidana in the first fight, really and truthfully, Floyd Mayweather, like, when Mayweather loses rounds, I mean, forget rounds. When he would lose moments of a fight, it was like news. It'd be used against him forever. I just don't think there's been a fighter on a performance by performance basis, big fight after big fight after big fight, big stage, pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view that delivered like Floyd Mayweather. So for me, it's like, it's hard. Like, regardless of how many times you go undisputed, it's hard for me to look in this camera and say that even if Crawford beats Canelo to become 3-time undisputed champion, that I think he's better than a guy like Floyd Mayweather. But I already know because I see it already. I see it all over Twitter. I see it on YouTube. I don't really say much about it because I don't really like talking about it. But people are already starting to say that if he beats Canelo Alvarez, that he should be above Floyd. And it's like, bro, what are we doing, guys? We all watch the fights. I know a lot of you guys that don't like Floyd. You bought pay-per-views hoping he'd lose. He never lost. And it's like people like to revise history and say, well, okay, they nitpick. They say, well, Floyd didn't fight guys in their prime, which is, to a degree, is true with certain guys. He did fight the right guys at the right time to a degree. But they were only the right guys at the right time because they couldn't beat him. All right? He started going there and win the damn fight. He started going there and beat Manny Pacquiao. He started going there and beat Miguel Cotto. He still had to go in there and beat Sugar Shane Mosley after Mosley just beat the brakes off Margarito. He still had to beat Diego Corrales, knocked out Diego Corrales, a Hall of Famer. He knocked out a Hall of Famer. Something Canelo hasn't done. Floyd did early in his career. He got it out the way early in his career. We late in Canelo's career, and he still hasn't done it. So it's like, it's hard for me to really sit here and say that Crawford is better than Floyd if he beats Canelo, because I don't think he is. And on top of that, if they fought probably at any weight class, I don't think I'd pick him to beat Floyd at any weight class. The only chance I'd give Crawford is probably at 47. Because Floyd had brittle hands. He had to inject lidocaines into his hands. And maybe Crawford could have caught him because we saw Mosley punch in between the shots, and maybe he could have caught him there. But I just think, any weight class they would have fought in, Floyd just too. He was a total package, man. I don't think people really give Floyd his due. They do to a degree, but they don't not like they should. Shout out to my guy, Sean. He says, hold on, Sean's saying a lot. So hold on, I want to get to all of Sean's comments because Sean be dropping them gems. He said, I don't think Terrence is actually better than Oscar was, for example, but the O and 3-time undisputed would make everyone rank him above Oscar. Yeah, but I mean, and I hear you, Sean, from an aesthetic standpoint, like it would, but bro, we talking about a gold medalist. Forget fuck the dumb shit. We talking about a gold medalist. We're talking about a guy that was a 6th division champion. Terrence, like this fight that Terrence is about to have with Canelo on this type of a level, Oscar had them fights damn near like every 4 months at points in his career. But I hear you. 100%. I definitely hear you. No, I definitely see the talking point, Sean. I'm not saying that it's crazy, but I'm just saying, man, we all watch those Floyd fights. Like you're gonna really look me dead in my eye and tell me that Terrence is better than Floyd Mayweather. Like I'm sorry. Like I know he's gonna have the aesthetics and the talking points are gonna be there, but it's like I can't do it. I can't bring myself to say it. Mayweather ducked Cotto all those years before he fought Margarito. Terrence Crawford ducked Jaron Ennis all these years before he fought Canelo. We could all nitpick and say a guy ducked a guy. All I know is in my lifetime, I ain't seen a better fighter yet. Sorry, I haven't. Bud gets hit a ton, ignoring that Bud isn't a defense-first fighter. He's an offensive counterpuncher. His style will be his downfall versus Canelo. Oh, my God. And you know what? Let's just get into it. I mean, I'm going to have – listen, guys, God knows who or what I'll have on this channel this week because I'm going to reach out to a couple people to get on the channel this week. But look, me and Sean are doing a video soon, so like I'm going to give you guys a little taste of what me and Sean are going to give you. But like when we drop our breakdown, it's going to be like some – extraterrestrial, high level, top tier creme de la creme analysis. So make sure y'all stay tuned for his channel and make sure you guys run his channel up. We're trying to get Sean to 100,000. We're trying to get me to 100,000. Now look, I'm gonna give you guys bull talking. I'm gonna give you guys why I think the fight. So first, I'm gonna be positive because I'm embracing the attitude of a professional. Doing things at the highest level, right? Being positive. Why will this fight be exciting? Because in my opinion, I look at it as a fight between two counterpunchers, and I see it developing into a fight where it's going to be two counterpunchers waiting each other out, and I don't think it'll be the most high output fight, And I think big in terms of like critical punches and really hard, clean, effective shots. I think they'll be hard to come by from both sides. So that's really what my objective thought is. But why could it be exciting? So the reason why it could be exciting is because you got two fighters that do have a bit of a point to prove, right? Terrence Crawford's coming off a fight against Israel Madrimov where he didn't look like his normal self. Where you're seeing Terrence Crawford dominate and stop guys, he didn't do that at Madrimov. He looked very, in my opinion, by his standards, forget my opinion, by the Terrence Crawford standard, which is a very high standard he set for himself, he looked pedestrian, right? And Canelo's looked pedestrian for a number of years now with the likes of Berlanga, John Ryder, Munguia, these kind of fighters. So they both got something to prove. They're both not coming out their best performances. And this is a legacy fight for both of them, right? And particularly from the Canelo side of things, people have, in my opinion, outright disrespecting Canelo. And I say this as a former internationally known Canelo hater. Like, I don't think people are really giving Canelo Alvarez the credit for the skills he does have. All I hear about are the skills of Crawford and how he's a sharp counterpuncher and how he's a great defensive or how he's a great finisher and all these things. But I don't hear anybody talk about Canelo's front foot game, Canelo's ability to pressure out of the high guard, remain relaxed in the pocket, counterpunch you while moving forward. I don't hear these things. All I hear about is Crawford skills and Crawford. It's never about Canelo's skills. So the fight could be exciting because I feel like we're going to get a pissed off and motivated Canelo, right? And I feel like we're going to get a pissed off and motivated Bud. And that might force one of them to actually take the lead. Now, who will it be? Conventional wisdom says it probably should be Bud because based on their career, Bud is like an apex predator. Bud likes to be on the front foot. Bud loves that. That is Bud. But Bud is smart. Bud knows that this fight is different. And Bud has shown in certain fights of his career when certain opponents command certain things and bring certain attributes to the ring, he can box. It's been a while since Terrence Crawford boxed a disciplined 12 rounds, but I remember I've been watching boxing long enough to remember when he fought Ray Beltran and he boxed a disciplined 12 rounds the whole fight. So I feel like, you know what? It's intriguing from that standpoint. But I think at some point there could be a lot of really. There we go. My bad, guys. I got a phone call. But I was saying there could be a lot of waiting going on, and I feel like one guy might get tired of waiting, and boom, you might get like brilliant, like really fun exchanges. So we'll see how it goes. Shout out to everybody here. We got my man Sean to tell in the chat. He says Cotto was peaking before Margarito. Talk to him, Sean. Let him know. Let him know, Chant. Let him know. Hold on. You guys are saying some crazy shit in the comments. I already know. Angel Diaz says the last Canelo Rio fight was the first Golovkin fight. The last Crawford comparable fight, Canelo none or Majimov, and he didn't look good. I have my doubts for both guys. That's what makes this fight interesting. Yeah, I mean, what makes the fight interesting is that for me, is that it's just two guys that have been two of the best fighters of our generation fighting each other. That's the only really thing that has me somewhat interested. I can't be like intellectually dishonest. I've done the numbers. These are two of the top 5 most covered fighters in the history of my channel, and I got 10,000 videos. So to be in the top 5 of that, it's a lot of videos. So you can say in so many cases that I helped build this channel off the back of Crawford and Canelo, so I can't hate them. Otherwise I'm not here talking. So yeah, we're not talking Mayweather, but he's a greater fighter than Crawford straight up. Crawford is great too, obviously. No, yeah, for sure. I'm not jocking or dick riding Mayweather. I just think we all watch the fights. Some of you guys watch Floyd because you liked Floyd. You love the defensive skills. You love what he brought to the game. Some of you watched him lose, but listen, we know how high the pay-per-views were selling. 1.5, 2 point something, crazy high numbers. So it's like we know you guys watch. Let's not act like you didn't watch and buy pay-per-view or go to your friend's house to go watch. It's like we know that we know deep down he was the best. Even if you think he's a scumbag and you don't like things he does outside the ring, that's cool. You can think he's a douchebag. You can think he's a piece of trash. Whatever you want. But we watch the fights and we know that inside that ring he was the truth and nothing but it. So that's what it is. So I think all in all, it could be an exciting fight because it's going to be a test. I think this fight is going to be a test of both fighters' patience and mental fortitude. They're both elite counterpunchers, but who gets on the front foot first? Is it Crawford or is it Canelo? These are two very machismo, alpha type guys, apex predators in their own right. So who's going to revert the type first? That's actually, now that I'm talking about it out loud, that's probably the most interesting thing is that whoever actually reverts to type first puts themselves at a disadvantage potentially in this fight, which is very interesting because, both of them have been so successful at what they've been doing for so long that normally if they just fight their fight and they let the fight come to them, they win. But in a fight like this where both guys' IQ are so high, both guys are master counterpunchers, the person that gets overly aggressive first, it might be the ultimate undoing. So that's really where that's the fight within the fight, and that's why I feel it could be exciting. Now, why I think it could be, why I think not it could, why I think it will be boring, because I'll just get it on record now. I've said it, been saying it all year, and I haven't really had any reason to change my tune as of yet. But I think the fight is going to be a listless affair with a lot of waiting each other out. And I think Terrence Crawford will probably get on the front foot first, and Canelo will exploit it just enough, not to knock him out, but to counterpunch him to a decision of some sort, whether it's UD, MD, or SD. It'll be a decision of some sorts. And I think it'll be a fight where the output isn't very high. Um, I think it'll have more significant moments and better highs than Bivol Beterbiev. Bivol Beterbiev was a great tactical fight, but it didn't really have the highs and lows I was looking for, right? I think this fight will have a little bit more than that, but not much more. Ultimately, I think both these guys know what they're in for. I think Canelo knows he's in there with a master counterpuncher. I think Crawford knows he's in there with a master counterpuncher. So they're both aware. They're both aware of what each guy brings to the table. And I just think maybe we do get a definitive outcome, and maybe somebody does get knocked out. But before it happens, if it does happen, before it happens, I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be a lot of waiting around and maneuvering for positioning. And I think for the casual boxing fans, for the layman boxing fans that doesn't know what's going on in that ring and that can't understand the nuance of the sweet science, I think they're gonna have a hard time watching the fight. I think they're gonna say, "Damn, this the best fight in boxing." Like, people are gonna be frustrated, but I think that's where we're at with the fight. So, yeah. Let me see. We got some good comments in the chat. Man, Sean's in there cooking. I can't wait for me and Sean to do our breakdown. Victor Valdez says this fight is gonna be a draw, and the second fight it made. This is a money grab. Now look, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I don't have a dog in the race. I don't really care if Crawford wins, and I don't care if Canelo wins. I don't care either way. The only result, I don't care if anybody gets robbed this fight. As messed up as that sounds, but the only result for this fight that will legitimately piss me off is if it's a draw, because then we know it's going to be specifically for the purpose of getting more money in the rematch, and then we're gonna have to sit here for another like 3, 4, 5 months on Twitter and hear the Bud fans, Canelo fans go back and forth on Twitter. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I really can't. And Sean says you might be right. There might be a lot of lows. Yeah, like it's very possible, Sean. We might get a knockout. It's possible we might get a knockout later in the fight. But I think if we get it, I think before we get it, there's gonna be a lot of lulls in the action, because, especially if Crawford is switching a lot, that's gonna give Canelo more things to work out. We know when you talk about the positioning between southpaw and orthodox, it's hard for the orthodox fighter and the southpaw fighter to get that lead foot leverage. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really, really tough. It might be a hard watch, and I think I'm gonna make a prediction, guys. If the fight winds up being boring, like I say it is, you're gonna go on Twitter after the fight, and you're gonna see guys like Shakur Stevenson go on Twitter and say, "No, it was a super entertaining fight, and the casuals don't understand boxing." You're gonna start to see things like that. But ultimately, I think for a fight of this magnitude, for a fight that's being built up as a super fight, I think it'll be super in many ways, in everything but what goes on inside the ring. I don't think it'll be a super fight in terms of action or moments. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully these guys deliver, because whether I like it or not, these guys are ambassadors for our sport right now. Like, and our sport is not in a good place. You're talking about, and I know Sean would love to speak to this, but like, our sport's in a place now where you got the Muhammad Ali Act being repealed. You got, Turkey Al Sheikh being bankrolled by the Saudi government, trying to take over the sport. Although we're being sold this narrative that we're getting the fights, and as we say here on True School Sports, at least we're getting the fights. We're not really getting all the fights, because ask Jairo Pataya if he's getting the fights. Ask Dave Benavidez if he's getting the fights. There's plenty of guys that are not getting the fights, and the sport is not in a healthy place. It's in such a bad place where, really and truthfully, guys, Naoya Inoue, who is one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound, probably one of the only 3 to 5 guys in boxing right now who you could say is must-see TV. We don't even know if his fight against Mirja Aguadali, one of the most significant fights of his entire career, we don't even know yet if it's going to be on American television. So if that's not an indicator of how bad of a place boxing is in, then I don't know what is. So these guys need to go in there and have a good fight for the sake of the sport. But there's so many things going on beyond boxing with this fight, and really this fight doesn't really I mean, it means something to a degree, but like it's not the story. You know, as you know, me and Sean have talked. They had a meeting in California today trying to pass the bill to change the Ali Act, and everyone called and spoke out against it. Now they postponed it for 3 months. So there you go. So the people are speaking out. I think, and I heard about that. I heard about that today, and it was a big topic of discussion here in California. I'm in California right now, so it was spoken about amongst people here in the box community that I know, and people were calling in and doing their thing. But everyone with half a brain knows how bad it is that they're trying to get rid of the Ali Act. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for the fighters. It's not good for the for the big fights being made. And truth be told, this Crawford Canelo fight could potentially be the last fight of an era. And you guys might not know what I mean when I say that, but like you guys have been getting used to these quote unquote Saudi supercards, and I guess you could qualify this as a Saudi supercard on American soil to a degree, even though I wouldn't call it that, but some people will. And I think that after this, we got Dana White in the fold, TKO boxing, we got infrastructure being made. Nah, you ain't gonna get these Saudi supercards. I told you guys a while ago, as did Sean on his channel. It was the Riyadh season and these supercards. They were a moment in time. They were a moment in time, and boxing is going in a significantly new direction, and it's a direction that I don't think a lot of you guys are gonna like. So I hope you guys heed what I'm saying at some point, and you guys just don't think I'm hating, because truth be told, I've matured past the stage of hating. Like I got personal ambitious goals on myself that I want to accomplish in boxing. So like if you guys don't believe me, it's on you. I'm not bothered either way, but I'm just telling y'all the truth. Let me see. Hold on. We got a lot of people in the chat. My man, that Chop Corley fight in Puerto Rico when he had the mini fro was incredible. Bro, when Miguel Cotto fought Chop Corley, when he had the mini fro, I remember Cotto rehydrated like it was crazy. I think he had like a 13 or 14 pound advantage when they rehydrated because he was big as shit. That's like the main thing I remember from that fight. I remember him having the afro, and I remember there being like a discrepancy of when they both rehydrated. Shout out to my guy. Who is this right here? Desk Lamp 22. He says, "Do you think environment and culture change is too much with Riyadh season? Do you think environment culture is going to change too much with Riyadh season? As far as the fights in Saudi, if you're talking about like fighters going to Saudi, I feel like a big reason why fighters get sick is because of the big change in environment and these kind of things. But like elaborate on that more because I'm a bit confused." He busted an amazing snake limb when Coley hurt him. Elevate, yeah. Like Sean, I know we do the. By the way, if you guys haven't checked it out, me and Sean have done a couple like classic fight reviews on his channel. We did I think Hagler Hearns on the 40th anniversary. We did Morales Barrera. We did I forgot what fight it was, but we might Sean. We might just have to start doing random fights when it's not the anniversary, like Cotto versus Corley. Like that's a good fight that I feel like a lot of boxing fans don't know about, but they should know about because people know Miguel Cotto and they know DeMarcus Corley fought Floyd, but how many people have actually watched DeMarcus Corley versus Cotto? I'm sure there's a gang of people that don't even know about that fight, that never watched it, that don't even know that Cotto had an afro. There you go, Sean. Thank you for my Corrales Castillo. Yes, it was Corrales Castillo. Yeah, we did one of Hearns. We did one of Hearns and Hagler, and then we did one on Corrales Castillo. Yeah, we got to do more, and we got to do one, guys. I'm gonna give y'all some homework because this is one of my favorite fights of all time. Me and Sean watched it years ago. It was Bernard Hopkins, Antoine Echols, the rematch, and the reason why we and Sean love this fight, and this fight deserves its own video, is because Bernard Hopkins showed these fighters how to be dirty. Like, there's fighters out there, I'm not going to say no names, but there's fighters out there that have tried to imitate Bernard Hopkins and be dirty just like him, but they didn't do it like Bernard. Bernard really knew how to be dirty, and it was entertaining. He says, it doesn't seem the same as the UK and USA and Japan. And Saudi Arabia is in no way, shape, or form the same as the USA or Japan or the UK. In the UK, Brits are drunk before the co-main event. In the USA, you got a diverse crowd. In Japan, it's very quiet and respectful, but people do show up and they do buy tickets, and it is one of the most strongest boxing markets there is right now. So it's way different. Saudi Arabia doesn't really have boxing culture, if we're being honest. Like, they don't have fighters, they don't have a culture of fights, so it's like they're trying to build it, but it's not the same. And let's be real. Let's just call a spade, guys. You tell me. You guys tell me. Which country is more enticing to visit? Do you guys want to go somewhere like in the USA? Do you want to go somewhere like Japan? Do you want to go to England, or do you want to go to Saudi Arabia? I don't know. For my money, I'd rather go like Japan or even like the UK and even parts of America. But that's just me. Maybe some of you guys want to go to Saudi. Maybe I'm uncultured, and maybe there's something amazing inside that I need to go see. But I'm not so sure. You guys tell me. He says, Sean Detel says, I was such a Joe Calzaghe hater. Talk about winning you over and earning respect. That motherfucker was great. I rooted against him every single time, too. See, there you go. And that's what happens, Sean, in boxing. When a fighter shows they're great, if you're mature enough at that stage of your life to appreciate them, you will. Or in my case, like you'll dislike certain fighters when you're younger, and then you'll watch when you're older, now understanding different things about boxing that you didn't understand when you were in your early 20s, or you didn't want to understand in your early 20s because maybe you were hating, and now you can appreciate those guys. I've got guys like that, so for sure. My man. Reverse Lee, you talking crazy. He said at this point, England is damn near like Saudi Arabia. That's cold. You cold for that one. You absolutely cold for that one. That's bad. I ain't gonna comment. Is Callum Walsh for the Rio co-main event over and Billy? Unless I don't think he is. He's fighting Fernando Vargas Jr. That's a good fight. I like that fight, but I don't think it's co-main event material. Now, Pamaroom says your hatred for Canelo is beyond personal. Now, it's funny because I don't like, guys, I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to clean up my language. I'm trying to walk this. I'm trying to follow the Lord, man. But sometimes I got to revert back to type, bro, because you guys not getting it. I don't give a fuck about Canelo or Crawford. I don't care if Canelo wins. I don't care if Crawford wins. It's not personal. I don't care. If he wins, amazing for him. If he loses, it is what it is. I don't hate none of these guys. It's not that deep. Why do you say it's personal? Now, look, if this is 2021, 2020, 2022, by all means, I'll be like, you know what? You right. I would say you right, but, I haven't really been able to work up the disdain for Canelo or anybody since May 7, 2022, when Dimitri Bivol, beat him. That's what I'm saying. I don't hate Canelo. We watch Canelo fights, being like, man, Canelo is great. LOL. Let BT cook and have fun with the shit. Yeah, I'm having fun, man. I don't care if Canelo wins. Like, this is the problem with boxing fans, and I feel like I talk about this all the time, and me and Sean talk about this amongst ourselves a lot. It's like, man, some of you boxing fans out there, y'all be dick riding these fighters like they're your favorite team. Like I'm wearing the Florida Panthers shirt right now, and hockey season is gonna start in like a month. You guys cheer for these fighters like they're your teams, and you know what? By all means, be a fan, do that, but don't project your feelings onto me. Like, it ain't that deep. Like, Canelo Alvarez is an A-level fighter. Listen, guys, even when I hated on Canelo, I still always said he was an A-level fighter. Why do you think I rooted from when he fought Jaime Munguia? because they were trying to turn Jaime Munguia into Canelo, but he didn't have the Canelo skills, and I took offense to that. So I always get Canelo's flowers. I don't understand how you can say my hatred is beyond personal, guys. I'm literally in the Bay Area right now. I'm in training camp. I really and truthfully, the only fighter on this whole earth that I really care about at all is Yugo Osaki, and he fighting at some point in the near future, which I can't say right now. I know when he's fighting, but I can't say because it's not out there yet. But like, that's the only fighter I care about. I don't care about like if Canelo loses and this affects his legacy. I don't care if Crawford gets knocked out. I just hope it's a decent fight, and what's gonna be is gonna be. I'm not bothered, but you guys seem to be the ones that are bothered. You know, man. You hate the fact. Hold on. I gotta hear this. Hold on. I gotta hear this. Hold on. Where is it? I just saw it. You hate the fact that Canelo is a protected fighter. A he's a over the law in boxing steroid. You hate the fact. No, I don't care. Let's see, that's the thing. You guys, you're talking to me like it's still 2022 or 2021, and what you guys fail to understand is I've evolved 17 levels mentally in life and in boxing since 2021. So I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. Canelo ain't the only one that's gonna get over on using steroids or that he's above the law. You think he's the only one? Come on, man. I know fighters, big name fighters. I ain't gonna say their names, but I know fighters that's getting over, that sign certain contracts to where they can't disclose certain things, even if they do test positive. But we're not gonna talk about that because y'all don't know about that. Y'all don't know what you think you know about boxing. But I let you guys think you know. I let you guys think that you know about boxing sometimes. But those are good reasons. Like if I was gonna hate, those are good reasons to hate. I'm like that with Hergovich and Ergashev. Bro, I haven't talked about Ergashev in like a year. You, Hurricane Hank, you the only one in this chat still talking about Ergashev. What about Hergovich? I like Hergovich. I'm a fan of him. But right now, to be honest with you, like I'm a fan of Hergovich. I like him. But to be honest with you, and I'm gonna be so blunt right now, when it comes to boxing, I don't give a fuck about Canelo. I don't give a fuck about Crawford. I don't give a fuck about Angel Leo right now. I don't give a fuck about Rafael Espinoza. I don't give a fuck about Stephen Folan. I don't care about none of the fighters that you guys are gay over. I don't care about none of them. The only fighter I care about is the one that I'm sitting in this training camp house with right now. And that's Yugo Osaki. I don't care about nobody else. So, and that's how I am. I don't focus on other things. I'm focused on what concerns me. Yeah, BT, you love Hergovich. What about that, JK, bro? Yeah, I like Philip Hergovich. I'm a fan, but right now, I don't really care about anybody. Like Canelo has had many advantages and gifts over the years. Failed drug test, not fighting 160. Listen, every fighter has. You can go through any fighter history. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't fight Marvin Hagler 2 or 3 years earlier. He waited till Hagler got old. He was the original diva. You could accuse any fighter of something. Sean says, I'm not a Turkey fan, but a Dragon Ball Z park is a pretty sweet idea, though. Is that an idea he has? Because I'll tell you this: if Turkey is going to do a Dragon Ball Z theme park, it sounds like he's trying to get in your good graces, Sean. He says, "Okay, so you like her? If you say you don't love him, we will leave you." That's my guy, though. That's different. But like even with Hergovich, like I still come on here and tell you guys. Like I told you guys before, what fight was it? The fight he just had against Adelaide. I said, look, if you don't come out here and get a knockout, I'm talking hella trash. But he got a knockout, so I didn't have to. But he still had some flaws. I pointed them out. So even he's not exempt from criticism. In fact, if I'm a fan of yours, or if I really regard you highly, you probably get it worse. Look at Andrade. He got it the worst. He got it the worst on this channel. And I was a huge fan of Andrade. Shout out to my guy, Team Slime TV. Says salute to True School Sports and the chat. Yes, salute to you, champ. We just here talking boxing. Ooh. RC says, so you don't care that Edgar fought a legend? Yeah, I fought a legend. I'm the only guy in my era that fought a legend. No, we have to care because you want to know why? Because Edgar makes us care. Edgar, if you don't care about Edgar fighting a legend, Edgar Berlanga is gonna make you care about a legend, him fighting a legend. Do you think Hergovich could beat Caballero? I think he can. I think he can, but his stamina needs to be like top tier. If he lets Caballero close the gap and get to the body, you know he'll get chopped up. But it's a good fight though. I think win that fight. Are you mainly into Japanese boxing as of now? Honestly, to tell you the truth, I mean, I love all of boxing, but these days, especially the last like year and a half, I feel like the most joy I've been getting has been covering Japanese boxing because it feels like meaningful work. Like I feel like people out there get value from it. I get value from it. Fights happen in a timely fashion. The fights are exciting. It delivers on a lot of different fronts. Are there things now? Do I think Japanese boxing is perfect? No. Do I think every Japanese fighter is great? Fuck no. But I do enjoy covering Japanese boxing. So yeah, like in fact, I'm about to go on a run here really soon of making a bunch of Japanese boxing videos because I'm quite behind. There's things I got to talk about in Japan that I want to get to. But yeah, it's very rewarding work, so that's why I enjoy it. Truth be told, guys, if if um if it wasn't for the work that I have to do covering Japanese boxing, I might have quit covering boxing on YouTube altogether. It's literally one of the only things keeping my love for boxing alive. You know. Shout out to my guy. I am Mexico. He says, "Hey BT, it's been a while since I come to the stream since I'm living at the dorm university and I'm busy at work." Well, you don't gotta explain your life to me, champ. You go be great. You go do what you gotta do. We're gonna be here doing what we gotta do for the sport of boxing. We ain't going anywhere anytime soon. True School Sports is here to stay. Shout out to my boy Enrique Luna, longtime viewer. He says, "Yo, BT, did the GOAT Cholatito fight last Friday in Nicaragua?" I don't know, but if he did, it's not even really like a fight we're talking about. He's not fighting nobody. I don't know what the plan is. You know, he don't got anything to prove. He's a great fighter. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best fighters I've ever seen in my life. But if the ambition isn't to become a 5 division champion or be champion again, I don't know what he's fighting for. It can't be like he's making a bunch of money fighting nobody. So I don't know. Romo Gonzalez is my favorite fighter of all time. He's part of the reason why I got into covering Japanese boxing. But you know, at this point, it's like no, every dog has their day, and it looks like his days might have passed. I've also been watching a lot of Japanese boxing for the past 1-3 years. A lot of it has been because of the news you put out. Thanks for being real. Yeah, man. It's really intriguing because, like I said, I started covering Japanese boxing because, you know, in 2016, I've told the story many times. I'm going to tell it again because some of you guys in the chat may not understand. They may like because some people don't understand like what are the origins of BT covering Japanese boxing? Is he some sort of nerd who just loves anime and is weird and likes Japanese women and you know that's why he covers Japanese boxing? No, the reason why I love the reason why I started covering Japanese boxing is because in 2016, which was like my second year covering boxing, I was trying to like expand my knowledge on boxing and learn about new fighters, right? And I remember I would look at the pound for pound list all the time. And I remember I knew every name on the pound for pound list, but I never knew who the number 8 pound for pound fighter was. And the number 8 pound for pound fighter at that time was the former WBC bantamweight champion Shinsuke Yamanaka. You know, big southpaw power punching fighter. So I did my research. I started researching about Yamanaka's career, and I started following his career. Then Inoue at the same time. Now Inoue became a thing because on HBO they were talking about a potential fight between him and Ramon Gonzalez. So that's the genesis of the Japanese boxing coverage. Then you know, and when you start diving into the history of Ramon Gonzalez's career, and you start seeing that you know a lot of the early guys he beat in his career were Japanese fighters like Katsunori Takayama, Yutaka Nida, Akira Yagashi, and then from there on, you start to learn more and more about who these guys are, and then over the years, it just took on a whole life of its own. Like I would cover Japanese boxing here and there. Then you know, Inoue Fulton, you know that was a fight that really captivated my imagination because you had a top prime American champion going to Japan to fight. Uh, to me, that was cool. And and then I thought to myself, I said, damn, imagine if I could go to Japan. And then I said, you know what? Let me try to go to Japan because, I'm at that stage in my life where I don't got kids. I don't got I have responsibilities, but not as much as if I had like a family or something like that. So I can up and go if I want to. All I had to do is get the money to go. So I gathered up enough money to go. I started to GoFundMe here. I went to Japan. I made a lot of friends, and the rest is history. And that's kind of the long and the short of it. And I haven't looked back since. It's been great. Hold on. My man right here, Wayne, says you and Hancho Boxing are the best at covering Japanese fighters. Shout out to Office Hancho Boxing. He's one of the best YouTubers out there. That's high praise because even before I had my own channel, he was putting out great compilations about fighters and highlights and does a great job. So that's great company to be in. Hurricane Hank says that he's gonna be out there in February. Well, shout out to you, champ. For some reason, a lot of people I know are going to Japan in February. So hey, shout out to you, man. Have a great time. It's a lovely country, and I consider it my second home. I know you've grown from your views, and I respect that, but you're still triggered by just hearing his name and saying you don't care. Kind of just that you do. As Canelo goes, so does boxing. No, I get triggered because people try to talk to me like I'm still the same person from 2021. That's why I get triggered. I'm telling you guys, I really don't care like you think I do. I talk about this stuff because you guys are gonna ask me about it when I come live. If I come on, listen. If I came on this live right now, and if this live was about Naoya Inoue versus Merjan Akhmadaliev, you guys are asking about Canelo anyway. So I'm not even trying to get around it. I'm going right to it. I'm giving y'all what y'all want. And I'm talking about it, and I'm having a good attitude about it. I don't really care about if he wins or loses. He's a great fighter. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one of the all-time greats of boxing. I recognize these things. I respect all these things. I've met him in real life multiple times. I've covered his fights. It's not that deep, Now, do I still have some of my views from the past? Yeah. Could he have fought a guy like Demetrius Andrade at some point? Sure. But am I going to hold it against him? No. But if people try to act like he didn't avoid the fight at any point in his career, I will bring it up, but I won't harp on it. What did happen? TSM says, would you ever move to Japan? Now, this is a great question. In theory, I've always thought that I could move to Japan, but honestly, I don't want to say I would have never moved to Japan, but a big part of me moving to Japan is I would have to really become very fluent in Japanese, which I'm not anywhere close to being right now. So that being said, right now it's a no, because in order to live in Japan, you got to fully integrate into Japanese society, because it's not like America. Like in America, you can be from another country and we will accept you with open arms and we will embrace you and we'll meet you where you're at. In Japan, they're not going to meet you where you're at, and that's okay. That's how they do things, and I respect it. But I have to learn Japanese before I ever even consider that. But I love the country, and I have a lot of friends there, and I have a lot of great things to do over there. And my connections to Japanese boxing and the work we do with Japanese boxing in Japanese boxing has been some of the most rewarding work I've ever done in my life. So, yeah. Shout out to everybody here, by the way. It's your boy BT, Brennan Taylor. We're here. We're live. I made my points known about Crawford, Canelo. If y'all want to ask me about questions about Crawford, Canelo, you can. I got like roughly 45 minutes left, and then I'm going to go wrap it up. But you guys feel free to get your comments in. Smash the like button. Run it up. Super chat. All that stuff. We here. It's the week of the big fight. Build my perfect fighter. Great question. So for punching power, I will go with Julian Jackson for punching power. For speed, I will go with Manny Pacquiao. For timing, I will go with Floyd Mayweather. For counter punching, I will also go. Well, hold on. Yeah, for timing, I'll go with Floyd Mayweather. For counter punching, I'll go with Floyd as well. For defense, no. For timing, I'll go with Floyd. For counter punching, I'll go with James Toney. For chin, I will go with George Chuvalo for for defense. I think I said Floyd already. For footwork, I will go with who would I go with for footwork? That's a good one. I don't want to use the same fighters. I'm trying to think of different fighters. For footwork, I will go Alexander Usyk. How about that? I'll go Usyk for footwork. Um, and I think I'll leave it at that. I might have missed some attributes, but I'll leave it at that. Ditchko Franklin. What do I think about it? Good fight. It's good to see Ditchko in the ring with a credible, solid game heavyweight. We'll see how he does. I've been a big Ditchko fan for years. I used to cover Ditchko's fights because early in his career he used to fight a lot in South Florida on those heavyweight factory cards against cans. I'm talking about cans, and he would look great. So he's fighting this week. You got Anthony Olaskuwaga in action. I'm a big fan of Princesa Olaskuwaga. I think he's an awesome fighter. In fact, because I have a big imagination. I'm here with my boy Yuga Osaki in camp. I oftentimes fantasize about not just the fights at 105 or 108, but I also fantasize about the fights at like 112. And like he's one of the guys I'm like, man, if we do, when we do, I want to say when we do win the world title, I would love if Olaskuwaga is still there. I would love the opportunity to fight Anthony, but respectfully, because I have nothing but respect for Olaskuwaga. I know him. I reckon Taiga Imanga can become a Sekai champion. Taiga Imanaga, he's a good fighter. I know he's with Ohashi Boxing Gym. I've seen him a little bit. I don't know if I'm ready to crown him a future world champion. It's like I don't just hand that out freely like to fighters. It's only a few fighters that I'll crown future world champions. What about boxing IQ? For boxing IQ, I don't want to say Flo because I said him already. For boxing IQ, give me. I already said Usyk. For boxing IQ, give me Bernard Hopkins. Well, let me see. Can I give me a guy like we'll do Bernard Hopkins because anybody who was able to be champion at 48 years old had to have a damn good boxing IQ. So we'll go Bernard Hopkins, the executioner. BT, can Yuga Osaki go out to featherweight in the future? At 126, his name will be bigger. Yuga might be a bigger name than Inoue if he does that. He's a young kid, man. He's 22 years old, but he's like 5'6". So theoretically, I mean, if we're talking about height, if he fills out enough, he could go to featherweight. He actually would have the frame to do it. But we'll wait and see. Every fighter's body matures differently, and he's not even at super flyweight yet, so it's hard to say. But I'm thinking for me personally, I thought about him fighting as high as 122 super bantamweight. I don't see why he can't be a 4, maybe 5 division champ in the future. But again, that's all premeditated. That's all premature. We got a fight coming up soon, which I can't say because it hasn't been announced yet. But I believe it will be announced in the coming week and a half or 2 weeks. And when it gets announced, I'll talk about it at length. But we got to win that fight, and then God willing, maybe the world title shot could be next, and then we'll win that fight, and then we can go from there. But if we're talking about his body type, it ain't out the realm. I don't think it's out the realm of possibility, honestly. He's got a really good frame on him, and he's a great learner. Like, truthfully, guys, there's no young fighter in Japan with a higher ceiling than him, in my opinion. Blood Rush Entertainment says, for Mosey Tama, I don't think he's ready to fight Caliber, Parker, or Caballero, but Moses is number one in the WBO, so it can be argued for him to fight Parker at some point. Well, maybe he winds up fighting the Parker worldly winner. Maybe he does that. Here we go. Antonio Mais says, Walsh versus Vargas and Billy versus Martinez, Boachuk versus Adams. What's your take? All of them are really good fights. Believe it or not, I would actually classify all those fights as pick'ems. I'm not really confident picking any of these three fights, but I'll tell you right now, I got Martinez, I got Boachuk, and I actually got Vargas Jr. I'm gonna go with Martinez, Boachuk, and Vargas Jr. So I got Lester Martinez by stoppage. I got Boachuk avenging his loss, and then I think I got Vargas Jr. Upsetting Callum Walsh. I'm not impressed with Callum Walsh, and I think Vargas punches hard enough to really and truthfully like give him some problems and maybe get him out of there. So we shall see. Do you consider Jin Tazaki a future world champion? Listen, I love Jin Tazaki. Jin Tazaki is probably one of my favorite fighters in boxing because he's got more heart. He's got more balls than 99% of boxing. But I don't, like I said, when I call a guy a future world champion, it's fighters that I'm like 150% sure are going to be world champions, and I'm not 150% sure about Jin. Jin has a lot of work to do, and so I wouldn't say he's a future world champion, but he's someone that I think actually has just as much value as a world champion because he's someone that I desperately want to see him fight. I want to see him fight. You know, he's entertaining. He's fun to watch. I care about his fights. So, no, I wouldn't say he's that. Why do you think Lester takes it? I think Billy's a very good volume puncher. He's physically strong. But my thing is Lester's very physically strong. And I think Lester is a very intelligent fighter in placing his shots to the body. I think Lester's one of the hardest punching. I think Lester's one of the hardest punching fighters in the 68 division. And I think he's going to be able to put Billy on the back foot in this fight and neutralize his volume punching ways. So maybe Billy might have to show a different way of winning, really and truthfully. But I got Lester. I got Lester in the fight. It's a great fight though. You're not wrong if you think Billy's going to win because I can see some paths to victory for him winning. What happened to the Aztec warrior mystique of the Mexican fighter? That's a good question. I don't think anything happened to it. I think there's still Mexican fighters that carry that mystique, like Vaquero Navarrete. But I don't know, man. I feel like Mexican fighters today are a little bit more coddled. See, back in the day, fighters weren't as coddled. So I feel like, fighters had to be more of that. Now, Mexican fighters like Isaac Cruz can say that they don't want to fight a guy because he runs around the ring, So, yeah. Who is the weakest champion in boxing in your eyes? Oh, man, y'all trying to get me in some trouble. You trying to get me in some trouble. Listen, I want to preface everything I'm going to say by saying that if you win a world title, you're very good. But in my opinion, if we're talking about in terms of skills and ability, right now in boxing, the weakest champion, it's a toss-up between Noel McCallion and probably Mario Barrios, I would say. Those two. If you're asking me the question, I mean, I'm not putting them down, but if you're asking me the question, Noel McCallion and Mario Barrios, those are the two guys I'm going with. Right? Because isn't Noel McCallion still the WBC Cruiserweight champion? I think Jin can take away Rolly and Barrios' belt and stop them under 7 rounds. I think those are very, very winnable fights for Jin. I don't know if we'll get them, but I think those are much more winnable than Norman was. Norman was just too strong, but he can come back better. Listen, if there was one fighter from Japan, not named Yugo Osaki, that I would love to see become world champion, is probably Jin Sasaki. Honestly, I love the guy. I love the guy. Lovely person. Love seeing him at the gym when I'm in Hachiochi. Everything I love about a fighter. BT, I couldn't watch Nunez versus Tuba Diaz. I need to know your true opinion on the decision in the fight. Well, I got a video dropping on that in about a couple hours from now, but I thought Nunez won the fight. I mean, I can't remember if he stopped him or got a decision, but I just thought he won regardless. But Pitufo really impressed me, man. I feel like Pitufo was one of the most determined versions of himself. I thought they screwed him. I thought there was a knockdown that they didn't call, that they should have called in the fight. And then he wound up hitting Nunez, and Nunez's glove grazed the canvas, and they didn't call that same call on Nunez. So I felt like he got screwed. by the hometown favoritism, but that's boxing for you. But good fighter. What happened to him? I mean, he's in Japan, probably still training. I don't. I mean, he's supposedly in line to fight Gary Anton Russell. I can see Jin Sasaki being the IBF championship fighters. You talking about Patty Donovan and Lewis Crocker? Oh my God! Listen, Jin Sasaki. Listen, I think if he gets the right fight and in this division, luckily for Jin, there's quite a lot of right fights for him. So now, really, what it's all about is it's about his team monitoring his health, monitoring, like how he's looking in the gym, how he's taking punches and sparring, working on his skills, working on his defense, and then maneuvering him into a position where he's ready to fight one of those kind of guys. You know. Pitufo versus that'd be a good fight. Pitufo Diaz versus Valdez. I like that fight. Two faded guys, one from Puerto Rico, one from Mexico. Why not? The old man Puerto Rico Mexico fight. Why not? Jin Sasaki will probably bully Barrios. I love that fight. I think Jin would beat the brakes off Barrios. Honestly, Barrios, for being as big and as tall as he is, he don't really impose himself on the fight. And one thing about Jin, the win, lose, or draw, love him or hate him, he gonna let that leather fly. He's gonna live by the sword and he's gonna die by the sword. As Brian Newman Jr. said himself when I interviewed him, that boy is about his action. So if you go in there being all timid and gun shy with Jin, you're gonna have a hard time to beat him. I'll tell you that right now. If Jin gets another world title shot, would you go see him again? Of course, I would love to. I mean, these days, I'm part of Team Osaki now. I'm part of Team Leo. So as long as it doesn't interfere with my commitments to Angelo Leo and Yugo Osaki, if I could go to Japan, if I have the means to go to Japan and the timing is right, of course, I love Jin. And Issei Nakaya is one of my best friends in boxing. As far as Japan is concerned, he's a big reason why I've been able to do a lot of things in Japan. So I'd love to go see Jin. If he gets another world title fight and it's actually a winnable fight, unlike the Norman fight, I'd like to go see that. I'd like to go see him fight. Like if he fights like a Broly in Japan or some shit like that, I'll go. Barrios don't want that smoke. Nah, they're not. But I don't know. They might look at that They might look at that Brian Norman fight and they might say, you know what, I can knock him out too. What's a fight you'd like for Jin right now? I don't know if it's a good fight for him because this guy can punch, but I mean, I've always wanted to see the Blair Cobbs fight, but from a matchmaking standpoint, that probably wouldn't be the smartest thing. So maybe someone like, I don't know. Let me see who could Jin fight that's not a puncher at welterweight. Just someone that's not a puncher. Anyone who's like a lower top 15 guy who can't punch, I would say someone like that. It's funny, guys, how like no matter it's pretty hilarious how no matter like what the live is about, we somehow wind up talking about Jin Sasaki. How bad would it be if Barrios treats Jin like a can? I'll be sad, bro. If Barrios, see, with Norman, I was sad, but based on things I had seen in both camps, I thought Norman was going to stop Jin. So it wasn't shocking. It was sad the way and how devastating it was. But I don't like if Barrios outclassed Jin, I would, oh my God, I'd probably shed a tear. I'd probably shed a tear, honestly, because that shouldn't be happening to Jin in that fight, but. Yeah. Shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. It's True School After Dark, everybody's favorite boxing late night program. Funny thing is too, guys, I gotta make overnight oats because we got protocol here. We got protocol here in camp. I gotta make sure my boy Yuka has his oats for the morning. So we ran out today, or we're gonna run out tomorrow. So I gotta make a new batch of overnight oats. See, training camp has no bounds. You know, one day it could be film study, the next day it could be overnight oats, the next day it could be, you know, it could be, you know, it could be driving them to the gym. It could be anything. It could be calling some people that I know in America for sparring. It could be calling, you know, guys who make boxing costumes in America. Listen, when I'm in training camp with fighters, I tell the fighters, I say, look, I have a lot of different connections in boxing in different sectors of boxing. If you need anything, you just ask me, and if I know anybody that can solve that problem, I will help connect the dots for you. That's what we do here in camp. We connect dots. We make the lives of fighters easier. So yeah, when this live is done, overnight oats time. Do you think pay-per-view is viable for big boxing matches, or is it losing its appeal? It should only be reserved for special boxing matches between two established stars. Like Canelo Crawford is a pay-per-view fight because these are two legitimate established stars that people want to see fight. You know, but most of the time, pay-per-view, they misuse it and they abuse it. Oh, if Barrios were to underestimate Jin, bro, if they were to underestimate Jin, they'd be in some big trouble. Because I'm telling you, Jin may lose fights. He's lost fights in his career, but it's not because he's not trying and he's not letting the leather fly. He's gonna let his leather fly, and he's coming in to try to knock you the fuck out. That's who Jin Tazaki is. So it'd be in your best interest to not underestimate him. BT is yeah, man. See, that's the one thing. A lot of people ask me because I've been getting this question a lot when I go and I meet people here in the Bay Area. They say, "What do you do? Like, what do you do for Yuga in camp?" And it's like, you asking the wrong question. What don't we do? Anything. Like, I'm talking about anything from film studying to learning the entire light flyweight division to scatter reports to driving them to the gym to making overnight oats to communicating with the nutritionist to calling people that I know in the boxing world that make boxing trunks if they can make Yuga some boxing trunks. You know, if I know anybody in his weight class for sparring, calling them for sparring. Like, I'm talking about there is no limit to what I will do in camp, you know, to help the fighters win. Even like I'll tell you guys a story. When Angelo Leo fought Kameda, the last fight in Japan, I was there. And you know, I was there and I helped organize the training camp out there. And on the day of the fight, the day of the fight, Miguel Leo, Angelo's dad, the trainer, he handed me like 30 tickets. He said, BT, here's 30 tickets. 10 tickets need to go here, 5 tickets need to go here, 5 tickets need to go here, 2 tickets need to go here. And my job, and one of my jobs on the day of the fight, when I didn't even want to do it, was I had to get certain people that were there to see Angelo fight their tickets. So I'm telling you guys, from the most important things to the kind of important things to the things that you guys want to think are important, my job has I have no bounds for what I will do in camp for the fighters. You know, anything to make their lives easier. Bible says that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So I'm a servant. I'm here. What are the ratings you give Crawford and Canelo, not as a fight, but as fighters? 1 to 99 in different boxing aspects. Ooh, great question. Terrence Crawford finishing ability, like Terrence Crawford, like I gotta go piece by piece. He asked me a lot right now, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm a little tired, but I think they're both in the 90s when it comes to counter punching. I think Terrence Crawford's speed's like a 90. I think Canelo's timing is like a 90. I think Crawford's power is like, well, at 68, his power is not going to be a 90. At 68, Canelo's power is like in the mid 80s. You know, defense, Canelo's like in the 90s, in the, you know, high 80s, low 90s. Defensive Crawford's like in the mid 90s, high 90s. Yeah, depends. That's a good question, actually. Where do I rank Floyd all time? I don't know. I don't know because there's so many great fighters in the history of boxing. I could really only speak to the guys that I've watched in my lifetime, and out of those guys, he's number one. He's the best one. Is he my favorite? No, he's one of my favorites, but he's not my favorite. But he's in terms of skill and ability, he's number one. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Kai Fly says, "Amen." Yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. Like I tell you all, I tell Hugo and I tell Angela all the time. I said, guys, like I'm here. Use me as a resource. If you, no question is stupid. You may have a problem that you need solved, and I may know somebody in boxing who could solve it because one of the things about going to all these fights and traveling all these years is that I get a chance to meet a lot of people and connect with a lot of different people. So many times I have the answers for the fighters in camp. You know. Let me see. What's my favorite year that I've covered? Oh my God. See, now you're asking. My favorite year that I've covered boxing? That's a great question. I would say, let me think. My favorite year I covered boxing. I had a lot of fun last year because last year, I don't live in Vegas anymore. But when I made that ridiculous move to Vegas, which I shouldn't have did, it was stupid, but I did it because you live and you learn. But Vegas was great. So I got to cover a lot of fights in Vegas. I had a lot of fun last year. 2023 was fun because it was my first time going to Japan, and there's no time like the first time when you go to Japan. It was so special. So I would say 2023, and then apart from those years, probably I would say I had a lot of fun in 2021 because I was going in and out of Vegas a lot. 2021. This year has been a ton of fun. In 2017. 2017 was the year that made True School Sports. I would say 2017 in the South Florida gyms, going to the Heavyweight Factory. Like late 2016 and 2017, those years were great. So I would say in chronological order, I would say number one is 2024. Number two would be 2016. Number three would be 2023. Number four would be 2017. Number five would be like this year. But they're all great years. They all have unique experiences. Bro, that is the exact mentality God wants to have. Serving hurts, so people die as responsibility, but respect. Yeah, sometimes like you have to learn how to when you're doing things for people. Because I've learned this in my life because I'm not a rich man, but like I'm rich in other ways. So I give myself I give parts of myself in other ways, right? So I've learned throughout the years that when you give freely to people without a return, an expectation of return, right? Because if you give people things or gift or anything, and you expect them to do the same thing for you back, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Now, if they return the favor, that's great, but that's not how you should do things, right? So the last year or so, I've been kind of operating that way that God commands us to, and it's been paying off a lot in my life in boxing and in other ways too. So yeah, it's not always fun. Sometimes it's annoying, but it's most of the time it's rewarding. My man said, will Yuga be based in Japan after this fight or stay in the USA like Junto maybe? No, he's gonna be based out here in the Bay Area, in Cali. This is where he trains. So yeah, he'll be out here. Did I eat sushi when I was in Japan? No, I didn't. I don't like sushi. Everyone will always ask me that. You should make a live commentary for the Yugo Osaki fight. Shit, I might do that, but I'm probably gonna be where when he fights. I'm probably gonna be there, at the venue where he's fighting. So, I don't think we need that. Something that got brought up on the Four-Way podcast today, but do you see Marco Antonio Barrera being better than Canelo all time? It's a very good question. Shit, he might be. He might be. He's neck and neck in my opinion, but I think Eric Morales is better than Canelo. How do I feel about the Takuma Inoue tension fight? It's a cool little fight. I mean, I'm not like the most excited about it, but it's a good fight. I think Tension beats Takuma. I think Takuma has maxed out his talent in boxing and maxed out his ceiling in boxing. And truth be told, It's very possible that if Takuma Inoue actually had to win the world title off of a legitimate like champion, he probably would not have became world champion. He won the championship because he won a vacant title that his brother Naoya left for him, and he got a favorable matchup against Liborio Solis, who's kind of old. I think Tension is progressing in boxing quite fast. I think he's a better fighter than Takuma. Takuma's good, but he can't punch, and his style is predictable. You know, but that's just me. Which country has the best amateur boxing system today? Well, we know right now it ain't the USA. That's what we do know. Probably shit. I don't know. Maybe Japan. Because maybe like Japan isn't winning gold medals across the board or anything, but like if you want to argue on a per capita basis, they're churning out world champ after world champ after world champ. But apart from Japan, I put like Kazakhstan, all the stands, the Kazakhstan, the Uzbekistan, all the Central Asia, anything would stand at the end. You know, the usual suspects. No, yeah, probably. I'll probably say Ukraine. You know what? We'll go with Ukraine just to have an answer. We'll go with the Ukraine. I think Ukraine definitely has the best. The pound for pound list is reflective of that. Cubans, yeah, Cubans too. Cubans as well. We can't forget about the good old Cubans. They definitely have their place in boxing lore. And Cuban boxing is amateur boxing, truth be told, but I like the Ukrainians. I feel like they found the right balance between amateur success and adapting their guys to the pro game. You know, that's my opinion. Kazakhstan and Russia. Another one. Russia's another one. But guys, look, I think on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm a little tired, and we do another long day tomorrow. So look, there's gonna be plenty of content coming out on the channel. I don't know if I'll go live tomorrow. If I don't go live tomorrow, I'll go live on Wednesday. So I appreciate you guys for coming. My man said, "Have I thought about becoming a boxing coach?" No. I know how to fight a little bit, but I'll leave that to the professionals. I'm more of like a boxing concierge, liaison, consultant, advisor, those kind of things, but not a coach. You know, coaches are special. You know, but listen, guys, on that note, I'm gonna get up on out of here. Continue to support True School Sports. You know, things have been moving as fast as I've wanted to, because it's been a slow times in boxing. But every day we're getting a little closer to that 100,000. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and I know one day we'll get there. But I wish that day was soon enough, because it's getting annoying. Last question, and I got a dip. Have I gone to Osorio Boxing Gym? No, I've never gone to Osorio Boxing Gym. I've never gone inside of it, but I've ran past there. I know where it's at. I've jogged and done road work past Osorio Boxing Gym, so I know where it's at. But no, I've never been there. But I know it's in California. I know it's in Hayward, and yeah. But anyway, you guys take care. God bless. See you the next live. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.